Mike Johnson, the 56th Speaker of the House of Representatives in America. We're here with a delegation of members of the House. We're so grateful to be in Israel, particularly on this day, and we're so moved by the hospitality of the people and the great love of Israel. Our prayer is that America will always stand with Israel, and that we will we pray for the preservation and the peace of Jerusalem. That's what Scripture tells us to do. It's a matter of faith for us and a commitment that we have. God bless you.
It would be nice if congressional leadership were more concerned about the American people as opposed to a foreign government, but that's clearly not the case, because as you see in that video that was just posted by the US-Israel Education Association, more on them later, House Speaker Mike Johnson is currently making history in Israel as the highest ranking US official to visit illegal Israeli settlements in the West Bank. Why not? Yeah. Slap on your approval to the theft of people's homes, the theft of people's lands, literal terrorism being carried out by those Israeli settlers. That's what our government currently represents, unfortunately. Not the best interests of the American people, but the best interests of a terrorist regime in the country of Israel.
Yeah, so you're gonna be shocked to find out who Mike Johnson's #1 donor is. Does anyone not know? You all know the answer, right? AIPAC, the Israeli lobby. So he goes over there to grovel to them and goes, "Oh, I swear to God, I'm going to represent you guys and not America." That's our poll in the live chat. Watch the show live at 6 o'clock Eastern every day. Is Mike Johnson America first or Israel first? I mean, is anybody really going to say America first? Maybe 8%. I don't know. We'll find out. Okay, but so he goes to grovel there, and he goes, "Oh, you have illegal settlements, and you plan to take over the West Bank, and you're murdering the people in Gaza and moving them to what a former Israeli prime minister has called a concentration camp in the south, and you're planning to drive them all out and steal that land, and you want me to basically rob American taxpayers of their hard-earned dollars and give it to you because you're bribing me legally in America?" Well, of course, I'll be your Huckleberry. So he goes over there. Look, you go to foreign countries and you pray there or you do whatever visits, no problem. In the middle of a genocide, where you go to their illegal settlements, where the whole point of the settlement is to steal land, I love that, 96 to 4%. Of course, he's Israel first and not America first, right? And then you go all these things, and then as you're groveling there in what looks like a hostage video, "I am here in Israel, is the checks cleared? And we should give all of our money to Israel. They haven't killed enough Palestinians, done self-defense." It's sickening, it's gross. By the way, in this story, there's actually good news. There's a fight back. Is that going to materialize anything? We'll see, but it's actually in Congress, which is shocking.
Okay, then it's not going to materialize into anything. All right, so Mark Zell, who Axios describes as an American Israeli Republican activist, was present for a speech that Johnson gave in the West Bank. So here's what he wrote. Speaker Johnson says that the mountains of Judea and Samaria are the rightful property of the Jewish people.
Unbelievable.
He criticizes those erstwhile allies of Israel who are calling to recognize a Palestinian state. He closes with a statement that as the US begins to celebrate its 250th anniversary, the US should use the occasion to remind the American people of its mythological Judeo-Christian foundations that were formed here in the land of Israel. So I say mythological because it's complete and utter BS. We as Americans should look out for our fellow Americans. Our government should serve the American people, okay? Whether they're Jewish Americans, Christian Americans, atheist Americans, I don't care. Americans should be served by our public servants. The very people who signed up to be public servants to represent the people of this country. But Mark Zell, really caught up with his concerns about a foreign country here. Now, one of Johnson's companions on this trip is Republican Congresswoman Claudia Tenney. She's the head of a caucus that was formed earlier this year called Friends of Judea and Samaria.
Unbelievable.
Which supports the annexation, the illegal annexation, meaning the land theft of the West Bank by the Israelis. Okay.
Sick.
So this caucus is pretty shadowy. It does not have like an official website. We don't know all the members of Congress who are part of this. But Taylor Ellis, our producer, did some digging to find some names, and he did manage to find at least a few members of Congress who have joined this caucus. That includes Representative Andy Harris, a Republican from Maryland, Representative Nick LaLota from New York.
They're all from Israel. You don't have to say where they're from.
I mean, pretty much.
They all work for Israel.
They're all Republicans, at least the names that we were able to find. And you're right. I mean, does it really matter what their states are if they're far more concerned with looking out for a foreign country over their own constituents?
But you should know their names. So in case you're listening to the audio version, Mary Miller, Barry Moore, Andy Ogles, Randy Weber, all traitors. So let me explain. And by the way, I don't mean anything physical. I'm just telling you, rhetorically, politically, obviously they're traitors. So, and obviously they're in favor of genocide. So Judea and Samaria is the way that people in favor of greater Israel refer to the West Bank and Gaza Strip. And what the people who believe in Judea and Samaria believe that God promised Israel that land. So it's their job to kill as many Palestinians as possible until they drive all the Palestinians out. That is the definition of genocide and ethnic cleansing, and to take that land, and that's the definition of theft. So it's amazing. American congresspeople have signed on to a genocidal caucus, and they're just saying it. And now Mike Johnson is saying it. Yeah, I'm going to Judea and Samaria, so we're gonna steal that for Israel, and we're gonna murder as many Palestinians as we need to, and we're gonna move them all out, and we're gonna take that. That's what Judea and Samaria is. So again, every lying journalist in this country that doesn't talk about Israel's intention to form a greater Israel, which they have been very clear about, and today they said yes, we're going to take all of Gaza. So that's it. Their intention is genocidal. Their intention is to set up greater Israel, which involves taking the West Bank and Gaza Strip from the Palestinians. So these guys have signed up for genocide, and they're just telling you. They're saying yes, we're going to use your money, by the way, not Israel's money. We're going to use your money to murder these people and take their land. I mean, sick doesn't begin to describe it. And Mike Johnson said in that statement, apparently according to Mark Zell, and this is not surprising, he said, no, he doesn't believe the Palestinians should ever have a state. So this is from the same liars who say the real problem is the Palestinians say Israel shouldn't exist. Do they have any power to effectuate that? No, of course not. Israel's the safest country in the world. They have Iron Dome, nuclear weapons, etc. But we're supposed to worry about a hypothetical threat to Israel's existence? That's mental. But they say at the same exact time, Palestine shouldn't exist.
Kind of makes you wonder whether the real obstacle to a two-state solution was actually Israel.
Of course! If you don't realize that the obstacle is not the Palestinians who have been slaughtered and humiliated for the last 58 years, and it's the slaughterers, Israel, who has constantly stolen their land, that is the problem for peace and the two-state solution. Well, in the past, I would have forgiven you, I get it. A lot of people weren't knee deep in this, etc. But now they've declared it, it's obvious, and we all have seen it with our own eyes. Israel is definitely the country that does not want peace, they want land. And Mike Johnson in this genocidal caucus is admitting it.
The final thing I wanna just briefly discuss here is, I grew up in the Christian church, okay? Now I moved away from organized religion later in life, but from, as young as I can remember, maybe 4 or 5 years old, to the age of 19, every Sunday would go to Sunday school, would go to church. I don't recall any situation in which it made sense for the males in my church to put a yarmulke on and, like put on Jewish garb and then engage in prayer with said garb on. But for whatever reason, we do have a ton of so-called Christian lawmakers in this country who like to go to Israel, put the yarmulke on, and I don't really understand it. Maybe someone can explain it to me.
No, they say that it's a sign of respect.
Is it really? Why? You're gonna debase your own religious beliefs by putting religious garb of a different religion on? I don't understand.
Okay, but if that was true, Muslims, religious Muslims sometimes wear a skull cap, which is very similar to a yarmulke. How come I'm never seeing a single Christian politician in a Muslim skull cap? Well, I thought it was just a sign of respect of other religions. And by the way, there's as many Muslims in America as there are Jews. So Oh no, but everybody has to put on the yarmulke. Again, if it was universal, no problem. Imagine if the Turks said, in order to be a real American, you have to come to some wall in Turkey and you have to put on a fez and look like a clown and dance for us.
Let's take it easy on the fez.
No, the fez does make you look clownish, right? So, anyways, okay, now the good guys. This is and rebellion within Congress. And of course, it has immediately been met with wrath, Israeli wrath, okay? Ro Khanna has started it, God bless his heart. That brother's got some courage. So he is circulating a letter to give to Trump to recognize Palestine as a state. Now that's the bare minimum, that's for all decent human beings, that's you think like, of course, where's the question, right? We all believe in a two-state solution. Nobody wants Israel to be wiped out, but we also think that Palestinians are human beings and also deserve a state, of course, right? No, it was considered an enormous gamble. And of course, followed by smears of Ro Khanna, he's an anti-Semite, I can't believe he's defying Israel, blah, blah, blah. Then Greg Casar, the head of the Progressive Caucus, joins. Now we're having a conversation. Then Lord Doggett, Veronica Escobar, Maxwell Frost, Al Green, Jared Huffman, Mark Pocan, Bonnie Watson Coleman. So that original letter gets leaked, and the leak is hilarious because they're like, these people want to treat Palestinians as humans, attack! And so, watch, by the way, now the media will start to attack these people. Because if you're a decent human being and you believe in the sanctity of life and humanity and decency and you have morals, American media will try to rip you apart. Then Andre Carson, Jim McGovern, Shelley Pingree, and Nydia Velasquez have also joined. I assume others will join as well. But I love this movement, and because what it clarifies is, okay, here are the people who are not saying anything against Israel. They're just saying the Palestinians should also be recognized. And this is a diplomatic route. You can't ask for anything better than a diplomatic route, right? So note all of the other congressmen who say no. Israel should be allowed to exist. They should be perfectly defended. They should be allowed to commit a genocide with your money. But the Palestinians shouldn't even be able to exist. And tell me that AIPAC doesn't run Congress. Come on. Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets its wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.